I'm about to talk about something nobody wants to discuss with a 71-year-old widower: remarriage. When my wife died 3 years ago, everyone had an opinion about when I should get back out there. My kids thought I needed companionship. My buddies at the Naples Golf Club kept trying to set me up. Even strangers felt entitled to comment. But I made a decision that shocked them all. I will never remarry. Not because I'm bitter, not because I didn't love my wife, but because after 48 years of marriage, extensive conversations with therapists, financial advisors, and attorneys, and 3 years rebuilding my life here in Southwest Florida, I've learned 7 crucial reasons why remarrying after 70 would be the biggest mistake of my life. If you're over 60, widowed, or divorced, and people are pressuring you to remarry, you need to hear this. Let me tell you my story. My name is Robert Mitchell. Everyone calls me Bob. I'm 71 years old, and I live in Naples, Florida, specifically in Pelican Bay, right near the Gulf of Mexico. My late wife Margaret and I moved here from Chicago 8 years ago when I retired from civil engineering. We'd dreamed of Florida for decades. Warm weather, golf courses, sunsets over the Gulf. We bought a condo with a lanai overlooking the golf course. Perfect. Margaret and I had 48 wonderful years together. We married young. I was 23, she was 21. We raised 2 kids in suburban Chicago. My daughter Sarah, now 45 in Atlanta, and my son David, 42 in Tampa. 4 grandkids. Margaret and I were best friends. Morning walks on Naples Beach, dinner at restaurants on Fifth Avenue, Sunday afternoons at Riverside Park. We were happy. Then, 3 years ago, on a Wednesday afternoon in March 2022, Margaret collapsed in the kitchen while making dinner. Massive stroke. She was 68, dead before the ambulance arrived. My world ended that day. I won't detail the grief. If you've lost a spouse, you know. If you haven't, I can't explain it. The first year was hell. I barely functioned. My kids came down frequently. Friends brought food. My grief counselor at Avow Hospice got me through the darkest days. Slowly, I started rebuilding. I joined a grief support group. I started volunteering at Habitat for Humanity. I reconnected with hobbies, woodworking, fishing, golf. By year 2, I was functioning. I wasn't happy, but surviving. Then the pressure started. Bob, you're too young to be alone. Margaret would want you to be happy. There are so many nice widows at the community. My daughter Sarah was relentless, sending me links to Our Time and Silver Singles. My golf buddies would invite single women to our Thursday games. Even my financial advisor mentioned remarrying could provide companionship and shared expenses. I'll admit, I was tempted. Loneliness is brutal. Coming home to an empty condo, eating frozen dinners alone, having nobody to talk to. I even went on dates, set up by well-meaning friends. Linda, 68, talked non-stop about her 7 cats. Barbara, 70, mentioned on date 2 she wanted to move in immediately to save expenses. Janet, 73, brought her adult son to our first coffee date because he wanted to make sure I was financially stable. After 6 months of this, I stopped. I realized I didn't want to remarry. Not because I'm incapable of love, but because remarrying after 70 would change my life in ways I'm not willing to accept. So I sought professional advice. I talked to my therapist, my estate attorney, my financial advisor. I attended a seminar at the Naples YMCA about late life relationships. And I learned 7 critical reasons why remarrying after 70 is a terrible idea. These aren't opinions. These are facts backed by experts. Let me share them. Reason 1, you'll lose your financial independence. The first and most important reason, financial independence. When Margaret died, I inherited everything: our condo, her 401k pension, Social Security survivor benefits, savings. I now have complete control over my finances. I decide how to spend every dollar. I answer to nobody. If I remarried, that changes overnight. First, Social Security. As Margaret's widower, I receive her benefit, $2,600 monthly, because it's higher than mine. If I remarry before 60, which I'm past, I lose that survivor benefit entirely. Even after 60, I'd have to navigate complex rules. My financial advisor at Raymond James, Tom Castellano, was clear. Bob, remarrying means potentially leaving tens of thousands on the table over your lifetime. Second, Florida law complicates everything. If I remarried without a prenuptial agreement, which most people skip because it's unromantic, my new wife would have automatic legal rights to my assets. Under Florida law, spouses have elective share rights. Even if my will leaves everything to my kids, a surviving spouse can claim up to 30% of my estate. If we divorced, she could claim half of everything acquired during marriage, plus possibly alimony. If she died first, her adult children could contest anything I inherited. If I died first, she'd have homestead rights to my condo, potentially displacing my children. My estate attorney, Richard Capusta at Henderson Franklin, was blunt. Bob, if you remarry without ironclad protections, you're risking everything Margaret left you. Your condo, savings, retirement accounts, all vulnerable. Second marriages after 60 have a 60% divorce rate. Late life divorces are financially devastating. He showed me cases of widowers who remarried, divorced within 5 years, and lost massive amounts. Men forced to sell homes. Men paying alimony to women they'd married for 3 years. Statistics from Bowling Green State University confirm divorce rates for adults over 50 have doubled since 1990. My buddy Jim remarried at 69. Divorced 2 years later. Lost half his retirement savings. Had to sell his boat. Now pays $1,800 monthly alimony. He's 73, working part-time at Lowe's to make ends meet. I'm not risking that. Financial independence isn't just money. It's control, security, peace of mind. Reason 2, you'll inherit someone else's problems. When you marry someone at 70, you're not just marrying them. You're marrying their entire complicated life, their adult children, their financial problems, their health issues, their emotional baggage. All of it becomes your problem. My therapist, Dr. James Sullivan, specializes in late life relationships. He told me, Bob, people don't become less complicated with age. They become more complicated. By 70, everyone has decades of baggage, failed marriages, estranged children, financial mistakes, health problems. When you marry at 70, you're dealing with 70 years of accumulated complications. I saw this with every woman I dated. Linda had 7 cats, non-negotiable. Her condo smelled like a litter box. Barbara was $40,000 in credit card debt, hoping to find a financially stable man to help her get back on her feet. Janet's adult son lived with her rent-free for 8 years and showed no signs of leaving. She expected that to continue if we married, but it gets worse. One woman, Karen, still talked regularly with her ex-husband. Another, Susan, had adult children in constant financial crisis, regularly giving them thousands and depleting her savings. Another, Mary, had serious health issues, diabetes, high blood pressure, early dementia, that she'd minimized online. Here's the brutal truth. Marry someone at 70, there's high probability they'll need significant care within 5 to 10 years. And who provides that care? You. According to National Alliance for Caregiving, spousal caregiving among men is rising. My friend Steve remarried at 68. 2 years later, his wife Patricia was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's. Steve spent 5 years as her full-time caregiver until she moved to memory care. He gave up golf, socializing. His life revolved around her declining health. He told me, "Bob, I thought I was getting a companion. I got 5 years watching someone disappear. I'm emotionally and financially drained. I'm not signing up for that. I had 48 years with Margaret. I've earned the right to live for myself now." Reason 3. Blended family drama will destroy your peace. Late life remarriage creates blended family nightmares. Adult children from previous marriages aren't supportive. They're suspicious, protective, financially motivated. When a 71-year-old widower with assets marries, his adult children immediately worry, is she after Dad's money? Will he change his will? Will I lose my inheritance? My attorney explained, "Bob, when you remarry, your adult children start worrying. What if you leave everything to her? What if she gets sick and you spend all your money on her care, leaving nothing for us?" These aren't irrational fears. They happen constantly. I watched this with my friend Carl. He remarried at 69 to Donna, 66. Within months, warfare started. Carl's daughter accused Donna of isolating him. She questioned why Donna was on Carl's bank accounts. Meanwhile, Donna's son showed up uninvited to check on Mom. Clearly suspicious Carl was after her money. Holidays became nightmares. When Carl had a minor heart attack, his daughter and Donna's son got into a screaming match at NCH Baker Hospital about medical decisions. Carl recovered, but the marriage barely did. He regrets remarrying because the family stress is killing me. Estate planning is worse. My attorney walked me through it. If you remarry, Bob, you must balance your new wife's needs with your children's inheritance expectations. Florida law gives spouses automatic rights, minimum 30% elective share of your estate. Even if you leave everything to Sarah and David, your new wife could challenge and likely win. The only prevention is a prenup where she waives those rights. But asking often kills the relationship. He showed me horror stories. Widowers who remarried and died 3 years later. Wills left everything to children from first marriage. Second wives challenged and won 40% of estates. Children devastated. Lawsuits followed. Another case. Widower remarried. New wife convinced him to add her name to condo deed. When he died, she inherited entire condo under joint tenancy, displacing his children completely. Cornell University research found estate conflicts are the leading cause of late life divorce. A 2020 study found 45% of adult children report significantly decreased relationships with parents who remarry after widowhood. I'm not destroying my relationship with Sarah and David for a new marriage. They're my kids. They supported me through Margaret's death. They deserve to inherit what Margaret and I built. I'm not letting some woman I've known 2 years and her children compete for assets that should go to my family. Reason 4. You'll lose your hard-won independence. After Margaret died, I spent 2 years grieving. Then something unexpected happened. I started enjoying independence. I could play golf whenever I wanted, watch ESPN all Sunday, go fishing Saturday morning without checking in, eat steak at 6 p.m. or cereal at 9 p.m., my choice. Leave woodworking tools spread in the garage. Make decisions based solely on what I wanted. This independence is liberating. My therapist calls it rediscovering yourself. After 48 years being Margaret's husband, I'm now just Bob. I've taken up deep-sea fishing. Margaret hated it because she got seasick. I've joined a woodworking club at Naples Hardwood Company every Tuesday. I volunteer with Habitat on Saturdays. I play poker with guys Thursday nights. I've taken fishing trips to the Keys with my buddy Mike. I have my routines, my life exactly how I want it. If I remarried, I'd lose that. Marriage requires compromise. Where do we live? What do we do weekends? Do I give up poker night because she wants me home? Skip fishing trips because she feels neglected? Can I still have buddies over for Sunday football? Even small things become negotiations. What we eat, what we watch, how we spend money. And here's what most men don't realize. Remarrying means taking on traditional husband duties again. My friend Paul remarried at 70. Within 6 months, he was back to honey-do lists, fixing things around her house, running errands, attending social events he didn't want to attend, spending holidays with her family instead of his. He told me, "Bob, I thought retirement meant I was done with obligations. Remarrying just gave me a whole new set. I'm exhausted." Dr. Sullivan explained, "Many widowers remarry seeking companionship, but underestimate how much accommodation marriage requires. After independence, returning to marriage obligations feels burdensome. They miss freedom, but feel trapped, because leaving makes them the bad guy." 2021 Bowling Green study found 35% of men who remarry after 65 report feeling less satisfied with daily life than when single, citing loss of independence and increased obligations. I'm not giving up my independence. I earned it. At 71, after a lifetime of work and responsibility, I'm finally living on my terms. I'm not going back. Reason 5. The financial burden of supporting someone else. Remarrying at 70 often means taking on the financial burden of supporting someone else, and that can destroy retirement security. Many women in their late 60s and early 70s have significantly less retirement savings than men. According to National Institute on Retirement Security, women over 65 have 30% less retirement savings, largely due to career interruptions, lower lifetime earnings, and longer life expectancy. Many widows are financially insecure. Every woman I dated had financial issues. Barbara was transparent. She could barely afford rent and hoped marriage would solve her financial problems. Others were less direct. Carol casually mentioned her 15-year-old car was barely running, clearly hoping I'd offer help. Diane talked about expensive medications and struggling on just Social Security. My financial advisor was direct. "Bob, if you remarry, be prepared for expenses to potentially double while income stays the same. You'll support 2 people on what was meant for one. If your new wife has financial problems, debt, inadequate savings, expensive health issues, those become your problems." He showed me the math. I have Social Security, $2,400 per month. Margaret's survivor benefit, $2,600 per month. I take the higher. Plus pension, $2,800 per month. Plus investment income. Total, roughly $7,800 per month. My expenses run $4,500 per month. That leaves $3,300 per month surplus for savings, travel, helping kids, emergencies. Comfortable. If I remarried someone with minimal income, say, just Social Security, $1,600 per month, combined income would be $9,400 per month. I'd lose Margaret's survivor benefit, but combined expenses would jump to $7,500 to $8,000 per month. That leaves only $1,400 to $1,900 surplus, less than half what I have now. And that assumes she has no debt, no major health expenses, and we don't upgrade lifestyle. Many widows expect certain lifestyles. My friend Ted remarried a woman used to nice things. Within a year, Ted upgraded from his paid-off condo to expensive rental house because she needed more space. Traded his reliable 10-year-old Toyota for new Lexus because she was embarrassed. by his car. Started eating out 4 nights weekly instead of once because she didn't like cooking. Monthly expenses went from $4,000 to $8,500. He's now dipping into retirement savings monthly. He's terrified he'll run out of money. I'm not taking on someone else's financial burden. I worked 45 years and saved carefully. I'm not bankrupting myself for someone I've known a few years. Reason 6. The health risks and caregiving reality. Statistically, if I remarry at 71, I'll likely end up as a caregiver within 5 to 10 years. And that's not how I want to spend my final healthy years. My doctor at NCH Baker Hospital, Dr. Patricia Lopez, was direct. Bob, from a medical perspective, here's reality. Women live longer than men, but have higher rates of chronic illness in old age. Arthritis, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, mobility issues are more common in women over 70. If you marry a woman your age or older, there's significant probability she'll need substantial care within the next decade. Are you prepared? I wasn't. I'm in relatively good health for 71. Controlled high blood pressure, some arthritis, but overall active. I play golf twice weekly, work with Habitat, go fishing. I want to keep doing these things. But if I remarried, those activities would likely end when my new wife needed care. According to AARP, spousal caregiving is nearly 50-50 among married couples over 70. Men are increasingly becoming primary caregivers. My friend George's story haunts me. He remarried at 69 to Ruth, 67. She seemed healthy. Within 3 years, Ruth was diagnosed with Parkinson's. George spent 6 years as her primary caregiver. He helped her dress, bathe, eat, manage medications, drove to endless appointments, gave up golf, fishing, socializing. When Ruth moved to assisted living at 76, George was 78, exhausted, drained, resentful. He told me, "Bob, I thought I was marrying a companion. I ended up a full-time caregiver. I'm angry, which makes me guilty, which makes everything worse. The financial cost is devastating. Ruth's assisted living costs $7,500 per month, $90,000 per year. George paid 2 years from retirement savings before Ruth qualified for Medicaid. He spent $180,000 of his money on her care, money earmarked for travel, grandkids' college funds, inheritance, gone." Dr. Lopez explained health risks. "Bob, caregiving is incredibly stressful. Studies show spousal caregivers have significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, cardiovascular disease, even mortality. Caregiving literally shortens your life. At 71, ask yourself, do you want to spend remaining healthy years caring for someone else, or living your life while you still can?" I know my answer. I'm not spending my 70s as a caregiver for someone I've known a couple years. I did 48 years of in sickness and in health with Margaret. I've earned the right to live for myself now. Reason 7. You can have companionship without marriage. The final reason is most liberating. I don't need to remarry to have companionship. Marriage is unnecessary at 71 and restrictive. Over 3 years, I've built a rich life. I have close male friendships, poker group, golf buddies, Habitat crew. We talk, laugh, share stories, support each other. I have female friends too, platonic relationships with widows where we grab dinner or see shows at Artis, Naples. I have kids and grandkids who visit regularly. I have hobbies. I volunteer. And here's what people don't acknowledge. If I want romantic companionship or physical intimacy without marriage, that's possible. I'm not actively dating, but I know widowers my age who have companions, women they see regularly, travel with, even have intimate relationships with, without marriage. No legal entanglement, no blended family drama, no financial risk, just companionship. My therapist encouraged this. Bub, there's no rule that says you need to remarry for meaningful relationships. Many seniors are choosing living apart together relationships, committed partnerships without marriage or cohabitation. You maintain separate homes, separate finances, separate lives, but enjoy companionship. For many over 70, it's ideal. A 2022 Pew Research study found 67% of single men over 65 are open to dating, but only 34% interested in remarriage. Why? Men increasingly recognize they can have companionship without legal, financial, and emotional complications of marriage. I'm in that 67%. I'm open to a female companion, someone to travel with, have dinner with, attend events with. But I don't need or want marriage. The costs far outweigh benefits. My life now, content and free. 3 years after Margaret's death, my life is genuinely good. I live in my Naples condo. I have routines: golf Tuesday and Thursday mornings, habitat Saturdays, poker Thursday nights, monthly fishing trips with Mike. Sarah and David visit regularly with grandkids. I've gotten back into woodworking and built a beautiful bookshelf. I traveled to Montana last summer for fishing. Next year, I'm planning the Grand Canyon. I have companionship without complications. I have male friends I do things with constantly. I have a female friend, Joan, who I occasionally have dinner or see shows with, purely platonic but enjoyable. No pressure, no expectations, no legal entanglements. Am I lonely sometimes? Sure. Do I miss Margaret every day? But those moments are far outweighed by peace, freedom, and contentment living life on my terms. I'm not someone's husband, someone's financial support, or someone's caregiver. I'm just Bob, and that's enough. If this resonates with you, leave a comment below. Are you facing pressure to remarry? Have you remarried and regretted it, or been glad? I'd love to hear your story. If you know someone being pressured to remarry, share this video. It might give them permission to make the choice that's right for them. Hit subscribe for more honest conversations about aging, widowhood, and living on your own terms. Remember, your life, your choice. You don't owe anyone a relationship. And being single after 70 isn't sad. It can be empowering and fulfilling.